Hi, my name is Cheryl Bowman, and I am a first grade teacher at York Suburban School District. I've been teaching first grade. This is my 5th year. And prior to that, I taught kindergarten for 3 years. And teaching is my second degree. My first degree is from Syracuse University in fashion design, where I've done everything between being a fashion designer to a buyer to having my own business. And now I'm happily have taught for 8 years at York Suburban. What am I passionate about? Well, really my family. My husband and I have been married for 25 years. I have 2 sons. One of them is 22, Carter, and he's graduating from James Madison University this year. And he just got an early acceptance to Georgetown Law, so we're very proud of him. I'm equally proud of my son, Eric. He goes to Temple University. He's 20 and he's a sophomore, and he's majoring in business, and hopefully he'll get back on the volleyball court soon. That's kind of stopped, but he plays club volleyball for Temple. When I take a mindful moment to think about what I'm joyful about, I think about my students, really. I see them walk in every day with a heavy backpack, weighed down with full water bottles because we can't use water fountains, a computer, and then everything else that they've been doing at home and hauling back and forth. And I see them just with their masks 6 feet apart, and it looks like the weight of the world is on them because literally they're carrying the weight of the world on their back. Well, they come in my room and instantly you see the joy. I don't think I've ever seen a class of mine appreciate their education so much, or seen that intrinsic love of learning. They are truly appreciating what they have, and they are not dwelling on what they do not have. So how can that not bring you joy? It's really a wonderful thing. So what does remote learning look like at York Suburban? I think that's the next question. Well, we're doing hybrid. So I have kids who come on Monday and Thursday, and I have another group that come on Tuesday and Friday. And then on Wednesdays, I'm at school and they're at home. So we're doing synchronous and asynchronous instruction at this throughout the day on Wednesday. When you do the math, I'm teaching 7 days a week. Because of writing the stuff that's going home and teaching here, it kind of adds up like that. And that's just assuming I'm teaching the same thing on Monday and Tuesday to the same groups, which we know that doesn't really how that goes. And I consider myself teaching an 8th day as well to the parents because we were not one-to-one with computers in kindergarten last year. So it's been tricky. Having parents know what they're supposed to be doing online, and everything that goes with that. And actually even the students, the students are doing pretty well. But so that's kind of what it looks like. In addition to that, I think I was contacted in July by my school district. We were writing an online school. We started in July, so we are literally building the plane while we're flying it. I was part of that team. I'm still part of that team, but I was part of the original team in that I was the editor of the first 9 weeks of instruction for all of kindergarten and first grade for the online school. Right now, I am in charge of writing March till the end of the year, all the math instruction for the online students. So really, it's been a busy time. Which I am sure everybody feels that same way, but we still love our jobs, don't we? Let's see. Why am I taking this class? I'm taking this class because, and I'll get into it with my philosophy, because my philosophy actually varies with what I'm able to do this year. This year instruction, based on what happened last year, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But this year, our instruction online is all the same across my building in first grade. And where we are in all of our instruction is the same in all the buildings and online. And that's because they wanted to make online and hybrid fluid. So a student could move back and forth as needed. This is a great idea. And then the other reason that the instruction is identical in my building is so that parents can ask each other what's happening, how things are working, and there's no disparity between what's happening, what different teachers are teaching and putting out for the students at home. I believe that was an issue in the spring. So that's what it looks like. And the reason I'm taking the class is I don't want it to look like that. I find this, just the basics going out to the students when they're at home, is not really who I am. It's still tricky to fix it because we're taking the personalities of a bunch of teachers and trying to push them together and come up with a product that works. So, we're, our instruction right now is teacher-centered, but more like a flipped classroom. So I'm doing my instruction in person, and then when they're at home, it's more practice, and then there's videos of the lessons. So that's kind of how we laid it out. So what's my philosophy of education? Well, I'm in line with the authors of the constructivism. In the spring, when I was left to my own devices for online teaching, had so much fun. We had project-based learning. That was my philosophy. I emailed it out all the way up to my superintendent and all my parents, laid out a plan of how we were going to do that. Every week we had a project with a choice board, and then the kids were able to present the next week. And that was just in addition to what I needed to be teaching to get them ready to be second graders. And I loved it, and so did the kids, and so did the parents. But that was then. Everybody was at home. March 13th happened. Everybody kind of shut down. It worked because most of the time, I had a few parents who weren't at home, but most parents were with their kids. Now, that's not the case. Kids are at daycare. Kids are sometimes with their great grandparents. They're really all over the place. And when we start doing more of project-based learning or things like that, or authentic learning, that's tricky because now I have to involve parents or grandparents or daycare workers who are like, hey, that's not my job. And it's hard. So I'm trying to find a balance for this year of a way to make things more student-driven than teacher-driven, knowing that when this ends, I will, of course, be completely doing things student-driven. I mean, it is hard, as you can imagine, with first graders because some of them can read sort of directions, and some of them can kind of be independent on their own, but some of them can't, and especially this year when they went home halfway through the year. So everything you do, it just takes a little bit more thought when you're teaching someone who can't read, and maybe can't even always, like some of my kids, their parents don't let them log into the computer on their own when they're at home. So they're only ever logging into a computer twice a week when they're with me. So anyway, so that's my story. I'm just hoping to be a better teacher. And that's a little bit about my convoluted philosophy, which really is all about kids learning and taking their learning and holding on to their learning. So truthfully, project-based learning is my favorite thing in the world. Hoping to get back to it. All right. Thanks so much.